Hey, everybody.
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's it going, Seb?
Great, thank you. All right, everyone. So we have the LastKnown Town Hall happening, the roadmap edition of the LastKnown Town Hall. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for adding your questions to the channel. We have if you for anyone that's new here, if you haven't added questions, go ahead to the Town Hall Questions channel, which is just above this live stream on our Discord, or you can also ask questions directly in our YouTube live stream if you're watching us from YouTube, and we'll be pushing those questions directly there. We'll be giving away some prizes. So we have 3 rewards for participants. So one reward of 100 Syscoin, one of 50 Syscoin, and one of 25. And so if you're a lucky winner asking questions, we like to make sure that our engaged people are rewarded. So make sure to ask your questions in the Town Hall questions section, and you might just win a Syscoin prize. So thank you for joining. And hey, Dan, how's it going?
It's going well, Seb. How are you doing?
It's awesome. Thank you. So today, as I mentioned, is what we're talking about is the roadmap, because we just recently published our roadmap. I'm going to share a quick link here to our roadmap. It's right here. So if you haven't seen our blog post yet about the roadmap, I'll post it in our Town Hall Questions channel on our Discord. So here it is. Sorry. My apologies, a little bit slower than I thought. All right, there we go. So we have our questions there, and we also have a link that I posted directly here, which shows a link to our latest blog post that covers the LastKnown blog. I'm sorry, the LastKnown roadmap on our LastKnown blog. And so Dan, as you're our fearless leader here, we've made sure that you're here, and we're sorry for those who wanted to join us last week. We had to push this ahead for almost a week, so we're very excited to discuss this. So I'm gonna leave the stage to Dan to talk all about the roadmap.
Yeah, and so do we want to start with a specific like milestone on the roadmap, or?
Yeah, I think we can just start from the beginning. We can look at what we've done so far. So since our roadmap not only covers our future endeavors, but also covers what we've done from the start, we can start from the top of the roadmap.
Yeah, so starting from the top, NFT Marketplace is something that I think most people familiar with LastKnown have had an awareness is coming for some time. We had tried to what we had tried to do was catalyze some of the development around that by using some libraries that exist out there, particularly libraries that are offered by OpenSea, to catalyze the development of getting that stood up. And essentially the goal of the whole marketplace initiative is to provide users with a curated marketplace for browsing NFTs and finding, the best NFTs within various collections that exist in the market today. And what we want to do with our marketplace is beyond just the curation aspect of things. We want to provide collectors with a series of tools that are built right into the marketplace for them to better browse and identify tokens within those collections that they're looking to purchase. And so, some of the tools that we're looking at are things like, if you have a token, utilizing technology like AI and machine learning to analyze other tokens in the collection and their metadata and find you other tokens that are either like similar or dissimilar to the token that you may have. And that becomes really interesting when you pair it up with things like other deed, which is the land property that's offered by Bored Apes Yacht Club. So it's like, say you have a piece of land and you're looking to either get other types of land with similar resources, or you're looking to diversify your land to get other lands that are dissimilar to the ones that you already have in your wallet. Our marketplace will have those types of tools built right into it natively for you to browse through and identify those types of details. You won't have to go out and purchase some service from Rarity Tools or go to 5 different Rarity sniper sites to identify that type of data. And so we hope that combined with the fact that it's an entirely curated marketplace, so you're not seeing a bunch of you know uh, let's just call them lower quality tokens, but also lower quality tokens combined with lots of like scam and spam tokens. I mean, anytime we launch an artist token at LastKnown, it's literally like one of our to do checkpoint things to go and for like 2 weeks following the launch, be searching for the name of the collection, reporting all of the spam collections that are created to try to trick people into buying fake tokens, and then hoping that OpenSea takes action against that stuff. On the LastKnown marketplace, you don't have to worry about that stuff at all because it's fully curated. So you can know that, if Adidas launches a token that people really want to purchase, you can come list and buy that on the LastKnown marketplace with confidence that it's the real Adidas token, and you're never going to be sat there with a token that you purchased off of LastKnown's marketplace thinking that it's like a legitimate token from Basie or Other Deed or Adidas or whoever, just to find out that it's a scam copy that was created to try to trick people. Like that's one of many benefits that our marketplace will provide. And so that's something that the team is actively working on, and it's kind of right around the corner. Like as you know, Sebastian, that they're actively testing this stuff right now. And the big thing that's kind of happened there is that we've been working on top of OpenSea APIs in order to expedite the development, in order to expedite getting something to market, and then we'd be switching over to our own infrastructure, which is being developed in parallel. But now OpenSea has released this seaport library, which we're now investigating to use, and it's all open source. And so that may give us another sort of tool in the toolbox to get to a production marketplace sooner without having to duplicate some of that work. But all of it is basically in the goal of getting to market as soon as possible, giving collectors a better marketplace experience, both from browsing collections perspective all the way through to the legitimacy of the tokens that you're buying. And then weaving that marketplace and that functionality into a number of these other roadmap items that we'll talk about more in just a bit.
Thank you. So we've covered the marketplace section of LastKnown Market, which is what we're highlighting basically. But there's so much more for LastKnown coming. So maybe let's go to the utility to token side, the known token. Tell us
Yeah,
about that.
and something I think is important for the community to understand too is that we rolled out Billion Buns, then we did Babylon Misfits, and now we're in the middle of Mutant Biomorphins, and both Misfits and Morphins are still available for mint. And so, and we're watching what the community is saying following the Buns drop and seeing what people's reaction to like Buns of Fortune was, and what people have been saying about Space Buns, which is being executed outside of LastKnown. But with all of these drops, we see that users want to see forward moving developments essentially in any of these individual drops roadmaps. And with the goal of those developments hopefully providing some sort of tangible value in the future related to those tokens that they've minted. And when it comes to NFTs being provided by artists, we really want to leave that in the hands of artists. They have their own vision for what, the biomorphins should be in 6, 12, 18 months. They have their own vision for what Misfits should be and what sort of follow-on collection should come to Misfits. And we don't want the LastKnown platform level vision to encroach upon those creative decisions that they have the freedom to make. And we also don't want this platform vision to encroach upon future artists that will be working with, vision in respect to their own token deployments. And so we put a pause on new artist drops temporarily so that we could put some more of this sort of platform level scaffolding in place as it relates to LastKnown, so that as we roll out future drops, we can provide users with additional value and utility in terms like in the form of a utility token that's going to have uses within the NFT marketplace. Like the obvious uses within the NFT marketplace is you'll get discounts for purchasing things using Known, and you won't have to pay any marketplace fees when you use Known token. But the vision for Known token is a whole lot bigger than that. Like Known token is really intended to be more a tool that integrates with NFTs and is used to actually power NFT-based benefit redemptions within the NFTs product. And by powering those redemptions, so say like a company like Nike comes on board and they want to provide anybody that's got a Babylon Misfit with a free flat brim cap. They can use a product like NFTs to provide that value to holders of Misfits. And Nike themselves and Nike marketing and employees and all that don't need to know anything about Solidity or blockchain coding. You don't need to worry about deploying contracts. They don't even know how to write a line of code with NFTs. And that's the whole kind of beauty and vision behind NFTs. Is it is what has started to become known as kind of like a token gating platform. But the token gating that NFTs provides is token gating in a number of different scenarios: real world, online, metaverse, e-commerce, and straight up headless like API style. And so the vision for NFTs is that it's really more a group. It's an entire community of users that are tapping into NFTs to leverage different benefits that brands, projects, and organizations have attached to those NFTs. And as users of those different communities redeem those benefits, known tokens are burned, as those are the tokens that are used to provide essentially discounted or subsidized redemption pricing for customers of the NFTs product.
Bringing in so much more than just a PFP to these projects, which is great. I mean, they're awesome PFPs, and don't get me wrong when I say that, because they're curated art. We've made sure that all these artists are top of notch, and we want to make sure that recognition continues, and like we already Billion Buns has started their own Discord and has their own moderators and whatnot. So the collections are growing, and Babylon Misfits has gotten a lot of attention in many different places, namely by the Morgan Heritage Group and Gramps Morgan, in particular, who's a world-renowned artist and a reggae artist. So
Well,
there's a yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just add that in there, as we're working with a constellation of actors behind the scenes, as you know, Sebastian, to grow awareness for these collections, but also to grow the value and utility for holders, this component of brands or organizations wanting to offer benefits to users but not being able to close that last mile that is actually like delivering the benefit to the user or fulfilling that benefit to the user is like a real problem in the space. Like people talk about it like it's so simple, like I think probably of all the artists we work with, Skuja has the best sense for the real overhead that comes with it because he started to do real redemptions with his hats and hoodies. But going from a user having an NFT to saying that everybody with one of those NFTs is going to get a free hoodie and fulfilling that whole thing is a non-trivial process that there's no real platform dedicated to. And within the context of the redemptions that we've done at LastKnown, those fulfillments have been very like bespoke development implementations so that, someone can come to LastKnown and see their misfit tokens and say claim, and then get like a nice form for them to fill out their shipping information, and then, get a hoodie shipped to them, and then also have that specific token that that hoodie was redeemed against marked as spent or what have you, right? And so we have a vision with NFTs for it to be a much larger benefits ecosystem tied to these NFTs than just the artist wanting to provide some benefits to their community. I mean, if you take a step back and you look at the larger landscape of the paradigm shift that's happening from like Web 2 to Web 3, you can almost look at NFT communities as, micro demographics of users that now these brands have a way of accessing. Like Basie could be looked at as, high net worth millennials, right? And if I'm a brand that wants to reach high net worth millennials, I can attach a benefit to Basie and talk about that. And now I know that people who've got 6 figures to spend on a JPEG, now have access to this specific perk. And the way that we're implementing NFTs also has a vision for, third-party platforms integrating those benefits. So like imagine that you're on OpenSea and how you've got like the description and the properties and all that stuff on the left-hand side. Imagine you now have like a benefits panel, and within that benefits panel, you can see that Nike is offering a free pair of shoes for this NFT, and WeWork is giving you like 3 hours with a hot desk, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? It starts to really build the ways that NFTs and the utility can be attached to them. And it provides the ability for brands to do that without having to talk with the initiating project, deploy any smart contracts, or write any code. And so having NFTs as a tool for brands to add more value and utility to not only LastKnown NFTs, but like any NFT that they want to, and making it such that known tokens are used to drive those redemptions, is part of like a larger ecosystem that's also tied into the gamified drops and the staking. And so, we'll talk to all those points as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dan. So we sort of went to NFTs, and on our roadmap right before that, we have gamified NFT drops. I think we're a little bit more hush hush on what's happening behind the scenes, but
For the
maybe you can
gamified,
share.
for the
Yeah,
gamified,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
uh,
we are a bit more hush hush on that one.
yeah, yeah.
I will say that the gamified drops will be somewhat powered by known token as well, and so you'll be able to utilize the known tokens that you've either been airdropped or that you've earned in order to access greater participation within that gamified offering that's coming. Um, but I don't think we can go into much more depth than that. Because I mean, I want to, as you know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but I
We
think,
can't wait.
yeah, I think we just need to. We have waited so long already, right, and gone through so
Hmm.
many legal reviews on that stuff. But
Yeah.
I will say that we haven't seen anything like this before. This gamified drop that we're constructing, and some of the specific mechanics that are related to the gamified drop are unlike any other experiences that we've seen out there, and so I really think the gamified drop is going to be an interesting combination of new concepts that we're mapping to NFTs and making accessible to the public, combined with some very unique social dynamics that kind of go that we've built into the gamification of that drop. And so it'll be interesting to see like how the community either works together to try to steer things one way within the game and lead to one sort of resolution of the game, or it becomes an everyman for themselves, and people just try to like solo it sort of thing. Or do you have people that like team up for the beginning phases of the game, but then later on like backstabbing and stuff happens as the field gets narrowed? Because I will say that part of the game is that the field of contestants is narrowed over time through the gamification to a smaller set of potential winners, right? I'll say that much. And so how that narrowing happens is very dependent on if people like do it solo or they team up, or you know how they go about executing the actual gameplay. And so it'll be interesting to see, as that stuff rolls out, both how people go about trying to accomplish the ultimate goal of winning, and what the ultimate winner or winners look like based on how they play the game. So, and it's gamified drops because you know known token, NFTs, NFT staking, some other things that are not fully mapped out here, but are also things we're talking about behind the scenes. These are all, last known platform level features and functionality. Once we have this stuff in place, we can resume doing some additional artist drops now with the ability to attach benefits using NFTs and provide bonuses using known token and potentially integrate those drops into games with people having an understanding of what that integration may look like, having played the games that we already have planned to be released in coming months. And so that's why we've kind of paused a bit on the individual artist drops themselves, so that we can build up the platform level infrastructure and give people a better understanding of what we mean when we're talking about last known platform level stuff. Like this is a kind of like Proof Collective and what they've done. Like LastKnown is not just like a marketplace where you come and buy NFTs. Like that's part of it, but you can also mint NFTs from these unique artists that we're working with. And we want to be able to provide an even more robust experience around those minting events, and not just have it be there's a marketplace and then there's these mintings that happen from artists and that's it. We want it to be there's this marketplace that's highly curated and gives you all these cool tools to find the exact types of NFTs that you want to find. There are these awesome artists that we're working with that are delivering really cool drops. And then on top of that, there's the last known platform, which can integrate with these cool drops that artists are doing or provide its own drops like we're doing with the gamified drop. And that brings its own like fun and experiences and unique entertainment value that you're not going to find other places as well. And you'll see through those gamified NFT drops, there's actually some like material rewards that can be obtained by playing those games. And I'm not just talking about like additional NFTs. Like we have done a lot of work to make it such that through those gamified drops, like we can give people prizes that have like a meaningful value. And so I think that knowing how users react to like offers where it's just like we're gonna make like a few hundred cysts available for this or for that, like the level of value we're talking about with some of these games is astronomical, I guess, compared to 100 cysts. And so I think it'll be really interesting to see not only how our existing community reacts to that, but also as it gets out into the wider public and people realize they can come to LastKnown and do X, Y, and Z to potentially qualify to win PD and Q. I think that our community is going to grow substantially, and we're going to get a lot of feedback on these games as well because nobody likes to lose, right? But that's the nature of games sometimes. And so we're very much listening to the feedback that'll come out of what we're calling the first season of the Last Known game. And, you know, looking to put action to as much of that feedback as possible, like within the realm of reasonability, of course. Like sometimes you got to be good at a game to win the game, kind of thing. And all of the that's all I can say. I wouldn't say
Thanks.
so much more.
You're already saying too much, but thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Yeah, so it's funny when you started talking about it, you were mentioning the legal back and forth, and that's something that I think most people, that are into crypto don't realize unless they're they've been into a project before.
Yeah.
We were co-founders of Syscoin, so we've had a heck of a lot of legal red tape to go through in general, and it's crazy that most, even the most successful projects right now, they only go through that red tape once they're successful.
Right.
And so this is something that you're not going to really see in more projects, but we're going to make sure that everything is respected, as much as possible, but to keep it an engaging gaming experience, and still be able to continue doing it,
Yeah.
and not just not having the impression of a rug pull because, well, we said this, but now we can't do that because well, our lawyers said so, and
Yeah.
that's just it. Yeah,
And,
sorry,
and
go ahead.
that's a good point, Sebastian, because I mean, definitely depending on the organization and the team and how much they do or don't want to actually comply with like legal laws and regulations, someone with less experience in the space might try to roll out something like what we're trying to do with the game and have people mint these tokens and then have regulators come and crack down and say you can't do that. And of course, the right thing to do in that scenario would be for that team or organization to just return the funds to everybody who had minted those tokens. But as we know in crypto, that's not how it always goes. And so what we've taken and why it's taken some time to develop all this as well is we've, gone through the diligence that's involved to make sure that what we're bringing to market is on the right side of those regulatory hurdles. And we've had numerous conversations at this point, around each of the individual games that we're planning to bring to market with this offering and how those specifically are constructed in ways that comply with regulations. And so that's one of it's like a double-edged sword to being a public company. It's good because we have to go through all of that to ensure what we roll out doesn't end up just like Sebastian was saying, perceived as a rug pull, and then we have all this overhead to returning funds to users if we don't do the diligence and that kind of thing. But on the other hand, we also have to do all of this legwork before we can even really share stuff with the community. And sometimes that may create the perception of like nothing's happening when really in the background we're going through weeks and weeks of legal discussions, trying to get to a point where we've got enough specificity on the offering, and that specificity has been deemed on side by our legal team, such that we can actually start talking about it in the public. Like probably for the first month and a half of the development of this drop, the actual ability to bring it to market was very much in question due to regulatory concerns. But then as we worked through, like I said, more of those specifics and just more talks with legal and all that kind of stuff, we got through all of those things. And so now we're in a position where we definitely know we can do these drops, and it's more just getting to the specifics of what these games look like and getting those graphics together so we can share them more widely, and getting the whole like marketing package together so we can really turn on the fire hose, so to speak. But we're past the are we going to be able to do this kind of thing, and we're more in the we definitely can do this. How do we construct it right to not only be a unique, fun, and engaging experience for people who are purchasing this new drop, but also how do we construct it in such a way that it is creating maximum value for existing last known NFT holders and any existing NFTs that are out there that have not been minted. You know, like definitely part of the way that some of the components that go into this drop are constructed is to reward initial last known token minters and current holders, and also to incentivize the sellout of the existing collections, as that's going to be a lower cost way of accessing these games versus some other ways that you'll be able to get into these games. And so users who are really like tuned into what we're saying on these AMAs and paying attention in Discord and listening to our newsletter will really have an opportunity to maximize their value when it comes to what we're bringing to the market here. And then people who catch on a little bit later may still have an opportunity to get in for a reduced price by any of those morphins or misfits that may still be available at that point. But that's also why we haven't like taken any action on the morphins or misfits yet, because a lot of what's coming with this gamified drop stuff ties into morphins and misfits. And so we wanted to walk that out fully before we started taking any additional steps with morphins or misfits. Like, you know, people may have suggested that we reveal things or we burn things or we, you know, there's all kinds of suggestions that we get, but there's ultimately more stuff in the roadmap that's going to impact the minting of those collections that we kind of internally know about. And so we want that to be fully out in the public and have a chance to sort of play itself out before we take any, you know, before we get overly proactive with either of those collections, knowing what we know.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. So we're approaching the end of our roadmap, but this is really just the start of our roadmap in a sense. So, you know, because we're really only looking to Q1 2023. So, you know, we're obviously in there for the long haul. We want to bring in a lot of more things, and you know, this is just what we're able to tell you about just now. But you know, we're really excited at Blockchain Foundry. It's tough not to mention anything, and you know, we get a lot
Yeah.
of questions, and people ask us and hint us, you know, and they're like, you know, dim sum's always on our ass. No, I'm joking, but you know, that's but you know, in reality, you know, this is really just the start, and you know, the more things go, the more the Web3 industry is evolving, you know, the more we'll have more on a roadmap. So just before we touch the last part of the current roadmap that we've started talking about, which is NFT staking,
Yeah.
I just want to remind our users that you can ask questions at Town Hall Questions, which is the channel right above this voice chat that we're talking to. We're talking to you on right now. And so you can ask your questions there. You can also ask your questions by voice. So once we finish off the section with the roadmap, we'll open the stage. So we'll start off with people that have questions that either want to, you don't have to show your camera, you know, you can just talk voice. You can show your camera if you want to be a star, but you know, that's really what it is, right? So and then we'll go on to the questions that are written, and we're going to try to do a hard stop at 3 p.m. That's Eastern for everyone, so in about 26 minutes. But you know, if we keep going, then we'll try our best not to
And we'll do
to
more.
stop at that point. Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
do more.
absolutely, absolutely. So we're getting a nice setup in our marketing where we're gonna start being able to touch all the different platforms with these things and be a lot more proactive and spreading the word. So so Dan, if you want to talk about the NFT staking, and before it, I mentioned that also YouTube live stream, we have you can ask your questions there, and we'll repost them in the town hall question side if you do. And other than that, like I said, you have uh, three different participation prizes. So if you do ask a question, whether it be verbally or in written, we're going to potentially award you with a Syscoin prize. So 100 Syscoin for the first prize, second prize 50 Syscoin, third prize is 25 Syscoin. And so go ahead, Dan. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there, but
Okay.
let's finish off the roadmap with NFT staking.
Yeah, so NFT staking, again, this ties into known token. As you see on the roadmap, you'll be able to what's called soft stake your tokens to earn known. And as people probably saw in the video that we put out, soft staking is unique because you don't need to you don't need to move your NFTs anywhere in order to soft stake. They just stay in your wallet, and as long as they're basically they are staked through a contract, so you still have to call a contract function to initiate staking. They stay in your wallet, and then as long as they don't move, then you will be entitled to a certain amount of known tokens that will accrue per day, and you'll be able to come to LastKnown and claim however many known tokens are waiting for you. We have some really cool. Trying to make sure I don't say too much yet. We have some really cool ways that you can maximize your how many known tokens you earn per day based on how many last known NFTs you have and are staking alongside with a new component that we haven't shared on the roadmap yet, so I'm not going to go too deep into. There's basically there's like a companion NFT that you'll then be able to bind one or more last known NFTs with, and that will determine how much you earn from staking. And in combination with that, how long you have staked your tokens will also play into what level of reward you're earning. So kind of like similar to moonbirds in that respect, where with moonbirds, I think they call it nesting. And like if you nest for, I don't know, I'm making this up, like 10 days, then your nest becomes like a bronze nest. And if you nest for another 10 days, it maybe becomes like a gold nest. And that has certain meaning within the moonbirds ecosystem. Within Last Known, you'll be able to do something similar, but it'll be a multi NFT type of thing. And as you progress up the tiers, you'll be able to earn more known tokens. And again, those known tokens can then be used for, I mean, a growing number of things. The initial vision for them is utility within NFTs and within these gamified offerings that we're bringing to the table. But we do have a whole partner fund when it comes to known token, and we're trying to work with a wide range of different organizations from partners like Catbotica and other sort of NFT uh, uh, groups to more traditional sort of corporate enterprises and businesses. We have a pile of known that's intended to really incentivize them to provide more benefits to users who are utilizing known token and in the process grow the value of their own known holdings at the same time. And so really known is something that I see as like a brand loyalty, like a generic Web3 brand loyalty engagement token, which we're starting through a number of different last known properties and events. But I see it growing into something much larger over time. And that's why it's also very tightly bound to NFTs. NFTs is this loyalty brand engagement system that allows for brands to very easily deliver additional value to specific NFT based communities. But and behind all of that, we're building a data set for Web3 that will also allow for not only last known, but also other Web3 properties like OpenSea and LooksRare and Uniswap and other pure Web3 properties to using nothing more than like a wallet address, provide a meaningful content to the wallet based on the types of activities that they're participating in the Web3 space. And so, a lot of what Blockchain Foundry, Last Known, is building is tooling and infrastructure that will help to service that new Web3 paradigm that we're collectively walking towards as a internet community. And part of that is known token, but part of that is also a lot of these new types of experiences that we're trying to make available through Last Known. To see what the market reaction to that is. And there's other stuff that we have on our internal roadmap, but is not yet on the public roadmap, that I think will also be interesting to see how the market reacts to it. Like something we saw during NFT.NYC was, specifically with Ape Fest, there was a lot of what's the word? There was a lot of figuring out to be done in order to find out how like a user with say 10 apes gets to selling nine of or loaning nine of those apes to friends so that they can access Ape Fest with those tickets. Like there are certain holders of NFTs that entitle you to certain rights, and you want to sell the rights to that NFT without selling the NFT itself. And so that's another use case that LastKnown is building functionality around, and we'll be speaking more about that probably in the next 2 months or so, probably. But those types of Web3 engagement models that are really new and require kind of some exploring and some figuring out, but the people who are first to market there have like a lot to capitalize on. That is a lot of what we're exploring as LastKnown, and providing tools to the NFT holders in the space to better identify the NFTs that provide them the most value, either from a brand engagement perspective or from a rare properties perspective, if that's what they're looking for, are all part of the tooling that we're assembling under the LastKnown brand. And so with staking, I think it'll be cool to see users start to earn known ahead of them being able to get known any other way. Like that's the only way that we currently have mapped out for essentially inflation to happen in the known token economy. Is it either happens through user staking or it happens through brands purchasing known to power redemptions within NFTs. And so it'll be interesting to see how supply and demand economics sort of pan out with known token, given how constrained the supply is going to be initially, and the types of benefits that it gets you, specifically in respect to the game, because it does get you a lot of mileage within the game, and depending on sort of how good you are at the different games, then known token may be of more or less benefit to you within that specific context. And so it'll be interesting to see, how demand for known token picks up as we roll out things like both NFTs and the gamified experiences, and then where that drives people to purchase known from. Because I think really the only place that we're envisioning it being available to start is on places like Uniswap. And so, you know, if the demand grows larger than what Uniswap can provide, then LastKnown may step in and offer some additional liquidity there. But I think that we're excited to be able to have the initial supporters of LastKnown, those who minted the buns or the misfits or the morphins, be able to see some returns by staking their NFTs and earning known for that. And then that'll also potentially have the follow-on effect of raising floor prices, because as users start to realize that they're able to purchase a misfit or a bun or a morphin, stake that and earn known, then more users are going to be looking for these specific NFTs so they can stake that and earn known, and then leverage that known for the different use cases that it'll be available for. And so the impact on floor prices should be a positive one, and it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out as we not only roll out known token, but then roll out staking and then roll out gamified stuff. Not in that specific order, but as those things roll out, I expect us to see a growing impact on the demand for known token, whether that be through people purchasing NFTs to stake them and earn known, or people going to Uniswap and just purchasing all the known that's available there, which won't be a whole lot. And so that will really drive how much more known we decide to release into the ecosystem, if any. We really would prefer it more to be driven by just the natural inflation and deflation economics of the staking system that's been constructed.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. So let's go on to the questions. I'll leave the stage open to anyone that wants to unmute their mic and talk. So uh, you may end up having to talking over each other. So I might have to mute you, and then I'll unmute you if you do if you do not speak, or if you do speak. So just so you know, don't feel bad about it. It's just that if we all talk at the same time, there'll be some issues. So if anyone wants to start asking a question now, if not, I'll skip to the next the written questions. All right, so I'll invite everyone to join us, and we'll go for the written questions for now. So Dim Sum's asked a lot of questions here. So what does success look like moving forward for 2022, given market circumstances? What North Star metric is key to this success?
I think it's really about community growth and continuing to see engagement with the drops that either are available right now or are the ones that we're bringing to market through the roadmap. And so, a large component in some of the strategic thinking behind how we are rolling out some of the platform level roadmap is specifically related to selling out the remainder of the existing collections. And then once that happens, obviously selling out the collections that we have planned at the platform level, but some of those, a certain allocation of all of these platform level collections are set aside for existing LastKnown NFT holders. And so I really think that success is a byproduct of community growth and existing and continued growth around the interaction around these NFTs. And when I say interaction around these NFTs, I mean everything from playing the games that we have planned to roll out to the market, but also seeing volume on secondary markets pick up, not only on the more traditional domains like OpenSea, but also on LastKnown proper, because now LastKnown is going to have its own marketplace functionality as well. And so seeing secondary volume grow on both of those channels, as well as the drops themselves sell out and Discord community continuing to grow, is what I would say is the North Star in respect to the LastKnown property. It's different for NFTs. NFTs is its own product, which is a product of LastKnown. But for something like NFTs, the North Star is much more brand engagement, getting brands to utilize brands and projects to utilize that offering, and seeing that offering start to be integrated into more third-party marketplaces. Like you'll see NFTs benefits being integrated into the LastKnown marketplace in very short order, but if and when you'll see NFTs benefits being displayed directly within OpenSea, don't know yet, but that's certainly one of the goals for the product and part of what is in my definition of success for that product.
Great, thanks. So we have a question from Pandadav. On which blockchain will the marketplace and known token be launched? Where are you going to start? Would LastKnown expand to other blockchains?
Yeah, good question. Right now we're playing on Ethereum, and again, this is primarily being driven by ease of use, robustness of ecosystem, let me call it, and breadth of documentation. Those are probably the three things that are like the most important, because we have really looked into a number of different blockchains for both NFT drops and for marketplace stuff and for tokens. But when you look at something like Syscoin, the number of wallets and the familiarity of users with that whole world is little to none, and there's not a lot of good documentation for users to fall back on when they need help, which means that either they would be going to Syscoin Discord to ask questions, which sometimes you don't immediately get an answer to, or they'd be coming to LastKnown Discord to ask questions, and those are questions that if we had used a different blockchain, we would not be fielding the overhead of, right? And so when it comes to the blockchains that we select for different deployments, outside of those blockchains having specific features or functionality that are required to execute that deployment, the next consideration is how much pain and suffering are mom and dad users going to have to go through in order to access this offering on this blockchain. And for everything outside of Ethereum and maybe Polygon right now, the answer to that question isn't great. And I know people don't like to hear that. I'm a Syscoin supporter myself, but it's the reality is just it doesn't have the wealth of information and help and community that exists around something like Ethereum. I mean, I like Phantom as well, and Phantom's in a similar situation where they have a lot more help and community and documentation and all of that than something like Syscoin, but they also have a kind of a nasty legacy that's following them around of Phantom on Ethereum and wrapped Phantom on Ethereum, Phantom Opera token, and wrapped Phantom on Phantom Opera. And so you end up with users who are withdrawing funds from exchanges being told that they're withdrawing Phantom, but they're really withdrawing Phantom on Ethereum to an Ethereum blockchain address. And then we fall back into that same situation that I was just describing with Syscoin, where they either come to the Phantom Discord or they come to the LastKnown Discord and they're having issues with where are my tokens? I'm on the Phantom blockchain, I don't see them. And we like those are, as people probably know in the web world, like you have like 2 seconds to keep or lose a user. Fred, could you mute, please? Um, we have like 2 seconds to like keep or lose a user, and if a user is wondering where their tokens are, like you've already lost them, and so right now it's all Ethereum based, but we definitely are keeping an eye towards I mean really the ones that are kind of top of mind are Avalanche, Solana, Phantom, and Syscoin. And as those platforms reach a level of maturity and ecosystem support that we can roll out token offerings there to a healthy amount of liquidity and a healthy community of documentation and support, then LastKnown has always had a vision of being a multi-blockchain platform. When we were about to launch LastKnown, we almost did billion buns on Phantom as our first drop, and then we actually did some user testing on Phantom, which is like has a large community, and people were they just ran into roadblocks immediately. They were making withdrawals off of the exchange to get Phantom tokens to mint on the Opera chain, but those exchanges were withdrawing on Ethereum without making it clear the network that it was being withdrawn to, which then drove users to getting really frustrated and asking lots of questions. And this was like with like a 10 user test group. If we had actually done that with the thousands of users that interacted with the billion buns launch, it would have been a disaster, right? And so we're always keeping an eye out for as these chains reach a level of maturity that will enable us to start doing drops on them, specifically the chains that provide like environmental benefits that, reduce the carbon footprint of some of these operations, like Solana, which I hate because it always breaks. I don't think that any product that breaks every month is a good product. And Phantom, I'm a big fan of as well from an environmental perspective because it is pretty reliable and has very low energy. It's a very low carbon footprint as compared to other more proof of work based solutions. But these are all multivariable decisions. It's not just me liking them or them having a big community or them being carbon better than Ethereum that leads to us doing a drop onto them. It's a matrix of a number of variables. And so as those other chains start to check all the boxes in that matrix, we'll start to do drops on them. But unfortunately, right now, Ethereum is the only one that checks all of those boxes, with Polygon being a close second. Um, and we're continuing to revisit that matrix like almost on a monthly basis, right? Like Phantom has made a lot of progress in that respect. There are many more exchanges now that will allow you to withdraw your tokens to the Phantom Opera blockchain without the confusion of ending up with Phantom tokens on Ethereum. Um, but it's still not quite there yet for the user base that we're looking to service as a market. Um, but we continue to keep an eye on that stuff.
Ano, how will the NFTs real life events benefit work between US based and European based customer collectors? Sorry, I must have read this wrong, but US based and European based collectors. So, how will the NFTs real life events benefits work between US and European
It'll
based?
work the same way for both, honestly. It's not really geographic dependent. I mean, I guess if a company was offering benefits to an audience that is only in Europe, and they wanted to maybe customize something about that offering that is more bespoke to the European audience, like the platform would allow for that kind of thing. But from a European versus US kind of, how does the experience differ for collectors? There's not much of a difference. If I'm someone who's got a Morphin and Nike has decided that everybody who's got a Morphin gets access to this event in the Netherlands, for example, then all I got to do is show up to that event with my NFTs account. I don't, you don't even with NFTs, you don't even need to take your NFT with you. You just need to take you provide proof of ownership, and then you take that proof with you. And so, whether I'm a U.S. person going to that Netherlands event or whether I'm someone from Europe going to that Netherlands event, all I do as an NFTs holder is go to the event. I'm already logged into NFTs on my phone. The person at the gate will present, it says accepting NFTs here. They present you with a QR code, or there's a QR code just next to the door. You scan that with your NFTs app, and then you choose that you want to redeem the VIP entry or whatever it might be, and then you're let into the venue. And of course, on the opposite side of that whole engagement, the venue is getting confirmation that the benefit exists, the benefit has not been redeemed for your token, and you have confirmed that redemption at that point of sale, so that other users can't go and redeem benefits on tokens that you own. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, I think that made sense. I mean, it really depends. Obviously, if you're in the Netherlands and you have a US show, you're gonna still need to buy a ticket to go to that in real life event.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
you
well,
know,
well,
but then
well,
there might be a web version, but that yeah, there's definitely a
unless,
lot of things.
right, unless a brand is giving you a free ticket if you have an NFT, right?
Hmm.
In which case, all you got to do is buy the plane ticket, right, from Netherlands to US.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, exactly.
once you're here, your NFT is your ticket. You don't have to have your NFT with you on your phone. You will have to have added the wallet that owns that NFT to your NFTs account. But after that, you just would go to the venue with your phone, which is logged into NFTs, scan the QR code, and then find your seat, pretty much.
Oh, sorry. Great. Thank you. I was muted there.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll just go through a couple more questions, and I think we can close it off. Actually, we're at 3 right now, so we should probably wrap it up.
We can do a few.
Um, yeah, a couple more questions. I
Yeah.
just want to be cognizant of our CEO's time. Uh, that's
We gotta
a
get through.
constant thing. All right, so let's see. What what avenues online, offline are being pursued to increase more awareness and engagement for LastKnown and all projects and all
Yep.
the
So
projects on it?
I mean, we have like a constellation of partners, honestly, that we work with to raise that kind of awareness. Right now, we're in that phase where we're constructing a number of the items that are on the roadmap and getting the marketing materials related to those put together and packaged up such that we can roll those out through the network of marketing partners and our kind of network, if you will. Another thing that's going to help with that is NFTs itself is a product, and so once that's ready for prime time, we'll have sales staff that'll be working to grow adoption and the customer base essentially for that product. And because it is a product of even BCF, LastKnown is a product of BCF, and NFTs is a product of LastKnown because of the association with NFTs and that whole world. And so, even though the sales team is going to be working on growing customer adoption for NFTs, because NFTs is being offered by LastKnown, there's going to be an aspect of exposure that LastKnown gets as a natural byproduct of that process. We also have a pipeline of artists that want to do additional drops as well, and we've started to refine the criteria through which we use to determine which artists we do drops with. And so I think through a combination of the tools that we have in the roadmap, the awareness that will grow as a byproduct of the NFTs product, and the additional drops that will map out as we get back to doing kind of more artist-based drops, that there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, and that's really the key thing when it comes to growing awareness and working with our network of partners to achieve something tangible on the awareness side. It's like you can't just keep telling them about something you've already told them about, which is LastKnown, it's a marketplace, we have these 3 drops, and there's more stuff coming. Like, you need to have new things to be pumping out to the network in order for working with anybody to generate more awareness and stuff to have an effect. And so we are getting a good stockpile of that stuff ready to go. And then once that's all ready to ship, then we'll actually start to ship it out to those partners, and you'll see it appearing in more places. Like, we've turned off advertising for the time being because we are waiting to finish a lot of these things before being able to activate that again around NFTs or a gamified drop or a known token or more, right? And by working with partners like Catbotica, Buns, Misfits, and Morphins, we'll gain more exposure for that stuff. And then we have our own, like at the BCF level, we work with a certain group of marketing and advertising professionals that are ready to action on this stuff as well. But we need to get all those materials kind of packaged up and together first before we can really activate those resources. And so that's all part of the plan. We're just waiting to kind of get everything together before we flip the switch.
Add to that, we're also, touching all the important social networks now. We used to concentrate more only on Twitter, and so we're going and touching, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're doing some short video sections, so it's been really popular. That lately, YouTube just recently launched their short section, so we're really tackling that avenue of newer type of social marketing, and we also have a blog that we launched not too long ago, a few weeks
Yeah.
ago, and there's several articles there. So we're trying to get the organic way of web searches and gaining that attraction. But we're constantly looking at different ways to gain more attention in a very organic way, right? We don't want to just pay for bots and overinflate our numbers when it means nothing, and really just kills the community in a sense. So that's really important for us. So
Yeah.
we want to go in that direction as much as possible. So, now, also, let's see here. Any plans to bring in house counsel to the team? So would that speed out the rollout?
Oh, like
You're talking
legal?
about legal. Yeah, I
Yeah.
assume he's talking about legal content.
I mean, we have so much counsel, just because of the nature, the global nature of blockchain, the Canadian nature of our business, the U.S. nature of some of our endeavors. We have a constellation of legal professionals we work with who are like they don't slow things down. It's just the process of it takes time for them to a day to figure out that certain considerations, and then that comes back to us, and then we need to brainstorm on ways to like work around those considerations, get back with them, double check those, see if they meet the bar or not. Yes, they do. Okay, cool. What's the next set of problems? That kind of thing. So it's not so much that we're losing time having to like source legal help and then waiting for them to get back to us. It's more just it's kind of just a thorny path to be frank. And so just kind of proceeding uh, with the time it takes to get the right answers to some of those things and really go through and be confident with the diligence we've done so that we don't roll something out and then have regulators in Canada coming after us for any reasons, right? So I would basically almost like consider them in-house without them actually being paid to be on staff, kind of thing. I think we have on retainer.
Yeah, or else we'd need a team of 50 different lawyers that would be constantly
Yeah.
on payroll,
Well,
and that just wouldn't make any sense, right?
we have probably like 10 that we work with just on, an ad hoc basis based on the subject matter and the jurisdiction that subject matter is being discussed in.
Yeah, absolutely. So a quick question I'll answer myself, I think here. Any future awards planned for redemption of points? So this is Dim Sum's question, tokens, Syscoin, or so right now we're touching we're we're the co-founders of Syscoin initially. So we like to bring in that existing community that has supported us for so many years. And so we've been giving away Syscoin. We actually, if you're talking about the redemption of points and maybe you weren't able to use them, we did replenish our store with more Syscoin giveaways and a few NFTs as well that are Polygon based NFTs. And so we have a few of those there in the shop. And yes, eventually we want known tokens to, in a sense, replace that or complement that in a sense. We're still still love the Syscoin community, and we're going to continue this ride with you guys as if you want to be on this ride, and that's just the case. So yeah, we'll keep on replenishing those points, and if you're having an issue using them, because we reward our users that are the most engaged, and a lot of people have gained some points on our raids where we get the social networks to be pushed a little bit more. So that's that's all in the plans with the more Syscoin and known tokens.
Yep, and we don't know what the actual conversion from points to known like looks like or anything yet. That's still TBD. But part of the reason, part of what known will also give us is a tool to incentivize engagement and reward participation and things like that, more so than we have currently with Sys, because as Sebastian said, we're co-founders of Syscoin, but like we nor the company doesn't really have any just like free Syscoin reserve to start, rewarding users from. We have to be buying those off the market and then providing those to users. And so with Known, we have a little bit more of, a dedicated facility for that type of thing, and it plugs into value in other parts of the ecosystem. And so, that's definitely something that we're going to be discussing more internally, and we'll probably have some more information publicly for the next, I don't know, month or so, maybe.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Dan. I think we can wrap things up now. We've touched most of the questions that came in, and I don't want to, we're very cognizant of your time. We want you to keep that roadmap going.
Yes, me
Uh,
too.
so that's it. So thank you very much for joining. Thanks for everyone for joining us and
Yeah, thanks.
asking your questions and participating. We much appreciate it. And so do please join us on our next one. We're not going to have a town hall scheduled just yet, but just an FYI, next week we're going to have a Last Known Lounge on Twitter. So Twitter Spaces is our go-to weekly thing, and we'll be doing that at 1 p.m. on Wednesday next week. And we're going to try to do that on a regular basis as much as possible to bring in outside community members, not just our own people, but we want to promote the great projects out there as well, and not just without being paid to promote, but we want to give the voice to what's the best in Web3 and NFTs right now. So join us if you have friends that have collections that are some great collections. Ask them to join us, and they can build a project. That's it's the thing to do on our last known. We'll talk about various Web3 news and NFT news and any other subject that makes sense. So thank you again for joining, and we really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the announcement of the winners for all the questions that you guys have asked. So thank you very much, and
Cool.
have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.